Many are praying that Roe v. Wade will be overturned this year by the Dobbs versus Jackson case. And while this would be a huge victory for life, it would likely still allow states to determine their own abortion legislation. We need to remain a people of life and for life, regardless of legislation, because a woman deserves to be upheld and cherished in her motherhood. How can we best help her not only to choose life, but to flourish? As Sisters of Life, we have the incredible privilege of serving women who are vulnerable to abortion and women who have suffered after an abortion. So what have we learned in over 25 years? Well, first, that every human person is a gift, chosen and loved by God. Every person without exception is made in the image of God, a unique and unrepeatable reflection of His glory. And every person desires to be seen, known, and loved. We all experience this. We all want to know that we are lovable, that we are worthy of love. This truth about the human person is the basis of our ministry to women. Every woman desires to be cherished, protected, to feel safe and welcome. Every woman desires to be valued for who she is, not for what she can or can't do. We've learned that a woman facing an unplanned pregnancy can experience a real identity crisis. In her view of herself at that particular time of her life, she doesn't see herself as a mother, and knowledge of a pregnancy can become almost a crisis of self-preservation. She might be thinking, if I have this baby, my life is over. So it's either me or the baby. And when we're struggling with our identity, who we are, it's very difficult for us to face challenges and to make sacrifices. And we all know that a pregnancy requires both. In addition to this sort of crisis of identity, she's often experiencing fear, darkness, maybe a sense of hopelessness. She might be undergoing tremendous pressure from the father of the baby, from her own family, even medical professionals. We've learned that a woman needs to experience her own life as a gift before she can recognize the gift of her child. So we don't look at her as a problem or a project or even someone to be helped. We look at her as a daughter of God, chosen and loved. This is her deepest identity. We listen to her deeply, intentionally. We often say we listen her back into life, really reflecting back to her own goodness, the desires of her heart. And with the help of many coworkers and friends, we can meet and provide for her in those practical needs, job, school, housing. But we also need to work to support her spiritually, emotionally. She needs to know that there's someone who wants to walk with her, who believes in her. A woman who knows she is loved can do anything. This is true also of women who are suffering after having had an abortion. We've learned that many of these women experience deep grief, sorrow, and pain. They often suffer from anxiety, depression, addiction for years, even decades. So many people have never heard that there is hope and healing after abortion. One of the greatest gifts we can give our modern world is to speak of this truth, the truth of God's infinite mercy. That's why it's so important for us to be sensitive in our speech. It's important never to speak about abortion from a place of judgment or condemnation. We always want to speak from a place of mercy. There is no sin or darkness bigger than the love and mercy of Jesus Christ. He holds out His invitation of forgiveness and love to every soul. Finally, and most importantly, we've learned that prayer is the most powerful force in the world. Our founder, John Cardinal O'Connor, the late Archbishop of New York, would speak about how this is ultimately a spiritual battle which requires a spiritual response. He identified contempt for human life as a demon that can only be driven out by prayer and fasting. We are all called to be a people of prayer. Through prayer, we allow the Lord to fill us with His love and transform us, so that everyone we encounter might know and experience His love through us. I'm Sister Virginia Joy from the Sisters of Life for Edify.